Good morning, everyone. So, in this video, I'll just give you the summary of the chapter named My Financial Career, which was written by Stephen Leacock of Semester 3 English. So, before moving on to the summary, I'll just read you the summary for you. So, let's start. Stephen Leacock, who was born in the year 1869 and was died in the year 1944, he was a Canadian writer, teacher, political scientist, and humorist. His humor was light but mixed with criticism about people's follies. My Financial Career is a funny and humorous story that reflects the writer's fear and confusion when he entered the bank. Everything related to the bank made him vexed and nervous. He became an irresponsible idiot. My Financial Career is one of the short stories in Leacock's first collection of humorous fiction. Literary Lapses appeared in 1910. So, Stephen Leacock was the author of the My Financial Career, and he was born in the year 1869 and was died in the year 1944. He was a Canadian writer and a teacher and a humorist too. So, My Financial Career is one of the story that was written by Stephen Leacock, which was usually a humorous story. So, My Financial Career is the chapter, was the humorous story written by Stephen Leacock, where he shares about his experience at the bank when he enters the bank for the first time in order to deposit his money. So, the lesson narrates the first and the last real life experience with the bank. The writer got his salary increased to $50. He thought of depositing that amount in the bank that seemed to him a safe place. He entered the bank and looked around. The sight of money, clerks, furniture, setup, and everything else in the bank made him nervous. He, in confusion, informed the accountant that he wanted to talk to the manager in solitude. The manager got anxious and looked at the writer in great suspicion and took him into a separate room. The manager locked the door and misunderstood that the writer had some secret to tell and he might belong to Pinkerton, a detective agency. The writer informed him that he was not from any secret agency and was there to just open an account. The manager thought him to be a big businessman and wanted to deposit a big amount in the bank. When the manager learned that he was neither a detective nor a millionaire, he looked relieved. On knowing that Leacock wanted to deposit only $56, he grew unkind and cold. The manager, in an unkindly loud voice, instructed the accountant to help the writer in opening an account. The writer found a big iron door in that room and entered the door thinking it the exit, but it was the strong room. The accountant sent the writer out of the safe, and the writer rolled his $56 in the shape of a ball and pushed it to the accountant. And in turn, he deposited $56 in the account of the writer. Immediately after getting the money deposited, the writer thought that he needed $6 for his routine use. On asking, he was told the process of withdrawing the money. He signed on a check and gave it to the accountant, but he wrote $56 instead of 6. The accountant was surprised to see the check and inquired if the writer wanted to withdraw the entire amount deposited. The writer realized his mistake, but he did not want to be laughed at. He felt that he was insulted in that bank. He had no intention to deposit the amount in the bank again. The accountant returned him $56. The writer came out of the bank and heard a burst of laughter behind him. Since then, the writer did not go to the bank and started to put the cash in his trousers pocket and saving amount in his socks. So, this was the story written by Stephen Leacock, My Financial Career. So, it was a humorous story where the author expresses his views on the experience at the bank when he visits the bank for the first time in order to deposit his money. So, as it was already given that Stephen Leacock was a Canadian writer and he was a teacher too, and he was a politician and humorist too. So my financial career is one of the story where it deals with the real life experience of the Stephen Leacock at the bank. So in this chapter, he just expresses that how he felt at the bank. So after his salary got increased, so he just wanted to deposit his money at the bank. So he thought the bank would be the safe place to deposit the money and to save the money. So he will just go to the bank, and when he enters the bank, all the surroundings, that the clerk and the accountant, when he sees all these things, he just feels very nervous by looking at all the things going around. So he just asks the accountant that he just wanna meet the manager in solitude. So manager was very anxious. He just takes him to the separate room, and then he locks the room and he just asks the author for the purpose of being here. At first, the manager thinks him that he was a man from Pinkerton. He might be from a detective agency. But when manager got to know that he was not from a detective agency, he had just come to deposit his money. So he thinks him that he might be a businessman. So he wanted to invest, or he wanted to deposit a huge amount of money in the bank. So he wanted to meet the manager in solitude. So this is what the manager thinks, but later he gets to know that the author was from neither from a detective agent nor a businessman. Then he just asks his purpose of being here. The author in turn replies that he just wanted to deposit his money and wanted to know the process of depositing the money. So the manager was very unkind for this, because very anguish. So he just calls the accountant to help him with the process. Then, by seeing the angriness of the manager, the author just gets nervous, and so he will be very nervous. Where he, instead of exiting from the door, he just enters the strong room. So then the accountant helps him with the process, where he just informs about the process of taking an account in the bank. After that, so while depositing, author Stephen Leacock rolled his $56 in the shape of a ball, and he just given it to the accountant. In turn, he deposited $56 in the account of the writer. So immediately after getting the money deposited, the writer thought that he needed $6. So he just asked for the process of withdrawing the money. So he just signed on the check and gave it to the accountant. But he just wrote $56 instead of $6. Then the accountant was surprised and inquired that whether the writer wanted to withdraw the entire amount he deposited. Then the writer realized his mistake, that he had made a mistake. Instead of writing $6, he just put $56. So after realizing the mistake, he just don't want to be laughed at. So he felt that he was insulted in the bank. So he just had no intention to deposit the amount in the bank again. And the accountant returned him $56. Then the writer came out of the bank and heard a burster of laughter behind him. So since then, the writer did not go to the bank. So he started to save his cash in his trousers pocket and saving amount in his socks. So this is all about the chapter named My Financial Career, written by Stephen Leacock.